Welcome on in, guys. It is three bold takes again, minus one of the squad members. Quinn's doing things. He will be back next week. But before we kind of get into this game, which is a battle for the top spot in the SEC, basically,
True.
we are sponsored by SeatGeek. So use our code 3boldtakes at checkout. You'll get $20 off your first purchase. Again, shout out SeatGeek for sponsoring the channel. $20 off your first purchase. I kind of hinted at it. We've got LSU at Texas A&M, both sitting at 6-1 and undefeated in conference play here. Who would have thought it, right? Like after week one, both these teams were kind of written off after they lost, but since then they've come back and they've won every game, even some nail biters since then. You take a look at last week, LSU did not fall victim to the trap game against Arkansas. They took care of business 34-10. Texas A&M had a semi-close scare against Mississippi State 34-24. Hey, Mississippi State's been playing well the past couple of weeks. I definitely like what they've got cooking moving forward. But this is not a Mississippi State video. It's an LSU and A&M video. And A&M's favored by 2.5 at home. The over-under is 53.5. This game is at 6:30 on ABC. A&M has a 52% chance to win. Chase, is the analytics wrong, right? What are you kind of feeling here?
I think I've said this twice already, Freddie, but this is one of my favorite games of this weekend. I'm actually going to watch this entire game. I'm going to sit down, really enjoy it for myself. LSU back in the top 10. I personally had LSU written off this season. I thought they leaned heavily on their offensive weapons last year that all went to the NFL draft. But I think Nussmeier stepped in, provided a really good help for the LSU team. And I hate actually saying that. It kind of pisses me off that I have to say that. It's kind of like saying Penn State's a good team. Um, but I think when
They
you look at
are.
LSU's season so far, let's not lie to each other, Freddie. But when you look at LSU's season so far, they haven't done too much. They had a scare against South Carolina at South Carolina. They handled business at Arkansas, but their only true game so far, I don't really count the USC one, even though they lost, but their only true game so far is Ole Miss. Ole Miss, a top 10 team at the time, a very good team before they fell to Kentucky as well. Personally, I had Ole Miss inside the top 10 all season, making the playoffs. But you beat Ole Miss at home in overtime under the lights in Death Valley. I think that's huge to beat that team and that offense, and it kind of just showed your defense came here to play. And I think since the South Carolina game, LSU's done a very good job on the defensive side of the ball to really hold down offenses. Arkansas, I think, has a really good offense with Bobby Petrino, held them to 10 points. Ole Miss had a potential Heisman quarterback in Jackson Dart, held them to 26 and the win. So I think you do all that. I think this LSU team has gotten really good, and then Texas A&M on the other side. I mean, my goodness, I'm in love with Texas A&M again because Jimbo Fisher is not there. I think Weigman has gotten the start again for them, and I think they're super exciting to watch. But they have just been dominant on the offensive side of the ball, which I was not really expecting with this Texas A&M team. I thought they were going to be more defensive minded. But their rushing attack is just absolutely beautiful. I think they have one of the best duo head rushers in the game this season. I think you got Le'Veon Moss, who's just absolute speedster. Amari Daniels, who comes in and does a really good job as well. And then you have a dual threat quarterback that they've been kind of bringing in and out. They've started some, and Marcel Reed. Me personally, LSU has struggled on the road this season a little bit, away from home. Look at the South Carolina game. Disregard the Arkansas game. We're going to go with Chase's agenda here, not with the facts. Texas A&M 6:30 at Kyle Field. That place is going to be electric. I think Texas A&M gets a dominant win. I think a dominant win. I'm going to go 34-21. I think Texas A&M does a really good job at home. I think their offense really gets started with running the ball, and they really put it to this LSU team. Because I think Ole Miss was a test, but I think this is going to be even tougher. You're playing away from home. You're playing under the lights. I think what they did to Ole Miss, you'll see Texas A&M be able to do to LSU this weekend. And right quick, Freddie, before you go, goodness, hold on. Let me get you Quinn's pick of this game. He is going LSU, the Aggies have had a surprising run in 2024. He says up to this point, however, he thinks that he's seen the Tigers really hit their stride on the way to a potential SEC title game. Would you have said that, Freddie? A potential SEC title game for either one of these teams right now? Like, that's insane to say that at the beginning of the season. That's crazy, is it not?
It is, especially when you have the likes of Bama, Georgia, Texas, Tennessee. These two teams were not in the list.
No, not at all.
Now, one would say that LSU could have been on the list, but A&M kind of came out of nowhere with, first year under a new coaching staff, right? Like, a lot of moving factors here for A&M. This game, to me, is going to define, and this may sound crazy, but this game is going to define how many teams the SEC gets into the playoffs.
It's true.
Because if these two teams, let's just say, for instance, rematch in the SEC title game, which is a possibility now, keep in mind, no divisions anymore in the SEC. So both of these two teams who's traditionally in the West could see themselves again in the SEC championship game. I don't think that happens, but it's an interesting way to look at it. And A&M being at home matters tremendously, right? Like you see what they did against Missouri at home, top 10 team, 41-10 at the time. They were a top 10 team. But then you also look like, they played Arkansas at home, 21-17. They played Bowling Green at home, 26-20. Like, couple of struggle wins there at home, but of course you do have the Missouri game to kind of lean on. I tell you what game for Texas A&M that looks better and better week over week is winning at Florida 33-20.
You're exactly right.
Chase, I think you hit the nail on the head whenever you said that Florida was going to be the best 6-6 team ever. Or maybe even 5-7. I think that's true. They're getting better week over week, and it makes that win look even better for Texas A&M. I really don't know which way to go. Like, I came into this game, and I think Vegas kind of has it right at a 2.5-point spread. Traditionally, you get 3 points for being at home. I think at A&M, it's worth a little bit more than 3 points. So Chase has gone A&M. Quinn's gone LSU. So I guess I'm the deciding factor on the majority rules here. Is that accurate?
A lot of pressure. A lot of pressure. Be careful.
I think it's interesting how there's a big discrepancy in rankings between these two. Like, one's top 10 and one is like borderline barely top 15. And it's because LSU is more battle tested when it comes to, I think, ranked opponents. So I think that has something to do with it. But they're going into A&M, man. Give me A&M to win this game. Brian Kelly, hey, he's doing it, man. He can't win an opening game to save his life. But he can string together some wins during the regular season to make the SEC title or get dangerously close. And with the 12-team playoff, even a loss here for either one of these two teams, if they win out, they're sitting pretty. Because that would only be one conference loss. You're still alive in the SEC, and you're still alive in the playoffs. But I'm going to go Texas A&M to get it done at home. And I think they do cover the 2.5. I got kind of a 4-point win here for Texas A&M. So, interesting matchup in the SEC. But before we wrap this up and kind of say our goodbyes, remember, channel sponsor SeatGeek, 3 bold takes, discount code, $20 off your first purchase. Use it this weekend, use it next weekend, use it in a couple of weeks. Whenever you use it, use 3 bold takes at checkout to save that $20. I'm Freddie, been joined by Chase this time. Quinn will be joining us again next week. We'll see you guys in the next one.